$195.
It's still $195.
I can't, package dimensions, 20 by 15 by 8. Weight was 9 pounds, 12 ounces. Rating weight was 15 pounds. I don't know why that's different, but.
So
It doesn't say what it was. I mean, he wrote that it's
so the fee,
traffic signal
so the
part.
shipping was what price?
It says 195.65 flat. There's no tax, there's nothing
Right,
like
but
that.
then what was the breakdown of that?
Yeah,
Because it's not gonna cost $195 to ship a 9-pound box.
yeah, no, I don't know.
So if in the future, Jeff, if we could just have further breakdown of that, I mean, so like if it was a 95, here's my thought process. If it was $95 to insure for $500,
We probably should have just rolled the dice.
should have just rolled the dice, in my mind, right? Because if we lose it, we lose it. I mean, because it was $200 and to ship a $300 box, if you think about it that way, theoretically.
Okay. Let me check with Nick.
It doesn't
find
look
out
like
what
he
that
tried to
was.
put any kind of rush on it or anything. I mean, we have an open balance that we owe them for $300.
It's at the partial business?
Yeah. It says 298.61 open balance.
So that'd be
So-
something for the collector to follow back up on, right?
I will do some checking.
What's the balance on that again?
298.61.
298.61.
I'm guessing though that this also was added to that. Which is strange. Because it says credit account, and the credit tendered was 195.65, which is the total of the box. And then open balance 298. So I think that 298 is outstanding.
Okay.
Well, he did select a 3-day shipment to California for what they would have put in as a 15-pound box.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one last one. That CJ trenching. They keep showing up on our stuff. Is this that we just don't have the manpower to do this? Do we not have the equipment? What is it? I mean, I'm tired of paying these guys for stuff that we can do, so.
Trying to find it here. This was a sewer repair. And this was, usually it's that it's a bigger piece of equipment that we need or something where we need manpower because we have other people tied up in other places.
Everything's an emergency.
Well, you gotta,
The box sand.
2,700 of that is hauling of sand. So one of the things that I've challenged is we only have smaller dump trucks in our fleet, and I've challenged to get a,
I'm more upset about the
Larger one?
$6,000 part of it.
yeah.
Of,
So
you know,
can you
hand
pull up the
digging.
sewer repair for them?
I got it
and
right
just
here.
see- Oh, you got it?
Yep. I got it right here. I mean, the sewer clean out, it's quantity of 10 for $675 to hand dig or hydraulic excavate. I mean, I just, $6,000, $7,000 for somebody to dig when we have enough men to do that.
Fred, did you have anything?
I did not. So the notes here do say that sewer main leaves the building, was plugged with debris. After exposing the main, which is under several wires and gas main, removed a small section of 6-inch clay pipe, jetted the pipe in both directions several times, and ran the camera through to ensure it was clean. A double cleanout was installed so that any additional maintenance cleaning can be done from the surface. The cleanout caps are next to each other at the surface and inside a manhole frame. So this is at 207 Railroad. So is that at our building?
No, we're,
207 Railroad, isn't that down at?
that's probably the street garage that they used as
Right.
a mailing address.
So that was for doing that. I do have to agree with the comment here that we're spending $675. That's an hourly rate,
Right.
right?
Times 10.
Times 10 for $67.50. I'd rather pay our people time and a half and give them the exposure for that on something that's even our own to get better acclimated with doing that sort of work than a contractor, personally. So it might be worth making sure that we're doing that as much as we can.
Well, Carsa's actually brought this up before, that we should have a pecking order. I mean, if Nick's not available, who's assigned to be the next in line? And after that, who's assigned? Like, how is this getting approved?
Yeah,
Or
this chain
who's
of command
just-
kind of thing. Like,
Who's just throwing them in? I guess that's,
I mean, we shouldn't just be calling up people because we can't have somebody get out there. I mean, I understood the time that he couldn't, but I mean, we got two other able bodies that are supervisors that could be doing something. And if they don't want to, then maybe they don't need to be supervisors. I mean, let's be real. If you want to do your job, then
Once again, I think just a little bit more information on the PO sheet might be helpful. So
I agree.
unable to perform repair work due to,
As to why.
X, Y, and Z. And then as far as the manhole and the storm sewer, like once again, I would like to try to see, we just bought a new backhoe, right? We have all the equipment
That's what
here.
I'm
We
saying.
have the Vector. I would rather put the money in our people's pockets than the contractor. And even at that rate, fully burdened, we're not $675 an hour, so
Okay.
better just being cost effective.
thank you.
Is that an extra copy, Kirsten?
No, I took it out of there.
Okay.
Fred, we, talking about our policy too, and I mean, we had a little bit of a discussion that we're putting this in place and finishing the procurement policy, but along with just personnel policy, coming for the next coming years. It's something that needs to be talked about, or at least decided on, that if Nick's not available, and then Brad, and if Brad's not available, and then Brian, and then if Brian's not available, who are we going to? Because, I mean, I can't imagine that all of our guys would say no.
No, they do say no. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I
Well,
have it often at work where.
I'm sure that some
it's
say no, but I
difficult,
can't
right.
imagine all of our guys saying no.
So in all honesty, I don't think that would necessarily fall within the employee policy manual, but I think what we would do is we would have a SOP, right? Or a procedure, a policy of how we are gonna handle outages, restorations, when the contractor gets involved, when they don't, that sort of thing.
That's what we really want to see. I mean, after this year, well, after every year with main breaks, it feels the same. Well, when it comes to the bills, I'm going to propose that we pull this one from Sandwich Parcel. I'd like a few more answers on it before we pay it. I'm not happy to see what this is. I'm not happy to see that there's an open balance. I feel like there's questions not answered, or, I don't want to be like my predecessor. Pay it to pay it. So I'd like your opinion, or I'd like to pull it.
I mean, my only opinion on that is that we as the city have already gone to this vendor. We have already utilized their services. They've expensed those expenses out of their own coffers, and they performed the services that we asked for. So I have difficult time saying, I'm not gonna pay them until our people get us more information. I think we should pay this bill, and then we should have the collector follow up on the amount that's due. Right? I just think that it's poor customer service on our part to expect that the vendor.
Well, the vendor's already been paid. This was paid with a credit card. And now here we go back to our supers having their own credit cards and having to answer for that.
So if it was paid by credit card, why is it not underneath the credit card statement?
It says credit card account 1 with an open balance of $298. Something's weird.
So if it was if it was paid by credit card, it should have come underneath the credit card statement. It should not have come underneath its own line item.
I don't see I don't see sandwich parcel under FMBO though.
Correct. So I'm thinking it's an outstanding bill. If it's not on the FNBO statement,
Correct. Again, it's just weird. So, yeah, okay, we can hand this to our collector.
well, what we can do is we can still pass it for approval, but ask that it be further investigated to see if it was paid by credit card and inaccurately recorded as a check disbursement. Is that not fair?
That's fair.
Because what does the
You're right.
PO say? If it was a straight PO, it's gonna be attached to the credit card statement, right? With the big stack,
Yes,
and it's not.
it's not.
So I think the comment on the sheet is inaccurate.
Is there any other questions on the bills before we move on? Actually, Officer, I'm sorry, Chief Senni. I keep doing that, I'm sorry. I was wondering about this, the evidence conversion. Can you tell us about that? Yeah.
Yes, so this is part of our. So this is part of our contract with Axon, so it has to deal with the fact that we have, there's different stages that we have for administrative purposes, licenses. So that is a conversion to have 2 more administrative licenses. So that's the cost that incurs. So basically, all the supervisors and myself, and then Wendy and Mary, we have full access to everything in Axon for them to be able to view stuff, whereas the officers only have a basic access where they can only view their own stuff.
Okay.
So that's the cost difference between those 2 licenses.
I see, thank you. Thanks, I'll take it.
I had a follow-up on that too, actually. I had to call them.
All right. Do we want to talk about the procurement policy or our budget schedule?
I didn't see any issues with the procurement policy changes personally. Like, it's just some clarification so general housekeeping. So I didn't see any issues in there. I did not have enough time to get with staff to inquire about the section about the bid documents, right? And that side of the house. So there's a few things that I'd like to talk with staff on about that. Did anybody have any questions on that themselves?
Not I.
I mean, those are basic bid specs that came from Cassandra, just a template to begin with when we do our bid specifications and things like that. But that was the second part of the procurement policy she'd provided last year, so any input,
Yeah.
if everybody can get those
And
back.
I remember looking at this, my only fear is that these are almost too generic.
Yeah, I don't
I
disagree.
almost think that there should maybe be a bid spec for when you're procuring product, then professional services, and then basically then something that's warranting additional insight, so.
Yes. There's no doubt. That would be wonderful, because that gives us something to build upon.
The exciting stuff, budget schedule.
I mean, if you guys want to get together one night this week, I could do Tuesday or Thursday. Otherwise, I'm out of town next week. We'd be during that week of the 18th.
Yeah, well, I think. When are you leaving town?
I'll be back in time for the meeting in 2 weeks. I'll be
No,
back on
but-
Sunday night.
But when are you leaving? Are you-
Friday.
Friday? Okay, so I wouldn't want to have you here Thursday and then having to leave Friday morning. So I wouldn't want to go that. Have either of you seen the preliminary budget?
No, it went to you as the budget chair so
Okay.
that we could talk about it and make sure that
Okay.
we were comfortable with what we had.
Right.
And then we figured we'd move on from there.
So what I was given was the preliminary budget in Excel format, so there's nothing that's put into like the traditional format that you're used to seeing in a book format. And so I just had some general questions for Jeff on that. I guess you could probably share it as just information
Yeah, if you wanna send me
only.
your comments,
Yeah.
we can update that and then send it out to everyone.
And then allow you guys to look at it, and then when Jeff gets back, I think we need to have a sit-down with him. Would that work?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. And so you're back, the,
Week of the 18th.
you're back the 18th?
Yeah, I'll be here for the meeting on the 17th, but
Okay.
18, 19, 20th could work.
So,
And do we have set dates for budget?
We had them, but
We-
reschedule them.
the 2/8 wasn't gonna work. That Saturday, it's February 22nd. And then we had Wednesday 26th, and then Wednesday the 12th as other dates. So we could still streamline this process. Could either of you do the 18th? So it would be a council meeting and then meet the 18th the next night?
This month?
Yep.
Yeah.
Of February?
Mhm.
What time would work for you guys? We could even do earlier if that works better than waiting.
Earlier the better for me.
You
Yep.
want to do 4 o'clock?
4:15, I get out of work at 4.
Could you do 4:15, 4:30?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So on the 18th, we'll just do 4:30, that way then nobody's rushing here. Budget. And then I'll send Jeff my questions that I've come up with a preliminary, and then he can in turn send it out to the committee. And then we can get something going there.
But we're going to get it before you go, right, Jeff? To just look
That
over?
would be the intent.
Okay.
I'd even be fine if you sent it out now,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't, my
All right.
comments.
I just didn't know if you had any comments, that's all.
There's nothing that's major, it's just general questioning
Right.
on a few things.
It's certainly a draft, but it's something.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
place to start.
Well, I just handed you guys minutes from the last meeting. Did you want to leave those for pending and approve them next meeting?
You guys can go for it, I wasn't here, so I can't vote.
Well, I don't know that Karsta was able to read them over. Okay. Can we pass them? Oh, great. Well, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from January 20th?
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So minutes are passed.
And I'll abstain.
Okay. Audience comments?
Just one question.
It's comments, just,
Oh, okay. City of Sandwich, December 2024 monthly finance. Should there be one for January?
So the January numbers we won't get for a few more weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
February 3rd, so I was just
Yep.
wondering. Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion to pass these bills to give them to council for approval?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, we're adjourned.